My name is Carter Vance, but in the eyes of my girlfriend, Chloe Scott, I'm probably just a lovesick trust fund kid with more money than sense. She can swipe my supplementary card and live in my mansion without a second thought, all while throwing her arms around her guy best friends for heart-to-hearts that last all night. Her sister, Samantha, always chimes in with, "Carter, you're so understanding. Our Chloe is just a sweet girl. She has a lot of friends." I never said anything. I just watched. Watched as they took the privileges I gave them and treated them as their own well-earned capital. It all came to a head when Chloe used the card I gave her to buy a brand new Porsche, paid in full, for that guy best friend of hers, Dylan. In that moment, I smiled. I'm not an idiot. I was just waiting for the perfect moment to personally take back everything I had ever given them. And in doing so, teach them a lesson. All gifts bestowed by fate come with a price tag secretly attached. And now, it's time for them to pay their bill. This isn't revenge. It's a reckoning. 1. The frog in warming water. My name is Carter Vance. My girlfriend is Chloe Scott. Right now, she's sitting across from me, taking delicate bites of tiramisu. The lighting is perfect, casting her face in a flawless glow. Carter, my birthday's next week. What are you getting me? She tilts her head, her voice sweet with that perfectly calibrated pitch of a playful demand. People at the tables around us are watching. A handsome man, a beautiful woman, a match made in heaven. At least, that's what they think. I put down my fork. What do you want? She drew out the sound, her eyes sparkling. You know Dylan, right? My best friend. He's been eyeing this watch lately. I think it's over $20,000. She paused, carefully observing my expression. I want to buy it for him as a testament to our friendship. After saying it, she quickly added, with my own money, of course. I'm just letting you know. I stared at her. The own money she was referring to was the $50,000 monthly allowance I deposited into her account. I didn't speak. Chloe started to look a little nervous. She reached out and placed her hand over mine. It was soft, fragrant with the scent of recently applied hand cream. Carter, don't overthink it. Dylan and I are really just friends. We've known each other for 10 years. He's like a brother to me. If it wasn't for him, I never would have gotten into college. Here we go again. I've heard this speech at least 100 times. Dylan. The name is like a splinter, always popping up when I least expect it. When we're at dinner, Chloe will get a call from Dylan and chat for half an hour. When we're watching a movie, Dylan will send a text saying he's heartbroken over a breakup. Chloe will immediately get up and say she has to go be with him. My garage is home to a dozen supercars, yet Chloe often chooses to go out in Dylan's beat-up, 5-year-old Ford Focus. Carter, don't get the wrong idea, she'd say. Dylan's just worried about me taking an Uber alone. Her sister, Samantha, is always there to back her up. That's right, Carter. You're a busy man with a huge business to run. We feel better knowing Dylan is there to look after her. Chloe's just a sentimental girl. You have to understand. Oh, I understand. I understand all too well. I understand so much that every time Chloe's phone lights up with Dylan's name, my fingers instinctively curl into a fist. Today, that splinter has surfaced again, and now I'm expected to pay 20 grand for her to buy a watch for her so-called brother. I pull my hand away. The restaurant's air conditioning felt a little too strong. It's your money. You can spend it however you want. My tone was flat. Chloe visibly relaxed, the brilliant smile returning to her face. I knew you were the most generous, Carter. She picked up her spoon, scooped up a big bite of cake, and held it to my lips. Open up. I didn't open my mouth. The atmosphere turned awkward. Chloe's hand froze in midair. If there's not enough on the card, let me know, I said, looking her straight in the eye. She froze for a second, then pulled the spoon back and ate the cake herself. There's plenty. How could what you give me not be enough? Her laugh was a bit forced. The rest of the dinner was pointless. On the way home, Chloe was glued to her phone. I knew she was texting Dylan, probably bragging about how she was about to buy him that expensive watch. I drove, watching the flow of traffic ahead. Red light, green light, over and over. Just like the push and pull between us. I spoil her like a princess, and she shares my affection with other men. A lot of people say I'm a fool, that I'm Chloe's ultimate simp. My close friends had tried to warn me, saying a woman like Chloe is a bottomless pit, a master manipulator who has me wrapped around her little finger. I always just smile and say nothing. A frog in warm water feels comfortable. It doesn't know it's about to die until the water reaches a rolling boil. I'm not the frog. I'm the one turning up the heat. I'm waiting for the temperature to peak, for her to leap into the scalding pot of her own accord. And from the looks of it, we're just about there. 2. A sister's support. The next day, Chloe stayed home, researching the watch. A Patek Philippe, an entry-level model, $23,800. She held her tablet, scrolling through pictures, muttering to herself, "This blue dial is gorgeous. Dylan will love it. I wonder if the boutique has in stock." I sat on the sofa next to her, flipping through a business journal. Her sister, Samantha, called. Chloe put on speaker. "Hey, Sam. Chloe, how did it go? Did you talk to Carter?" Samantha's voice was eager. "I did," Chloe said, a hint of smugness in her tone. "He agreed. He even said to let him know if I needed more money." "I knew it." Samantha's voice went up an octave. "Carter just adores you. How could he possibly disagree? You're just too cautious." Chloe giggled. "Well, I was afraid he'd get the wrong idea." "Wrong idea about what?" "You and Dylan have nothing to hide. If you've done nothing wrong, you've got nothing to fear," Samantha said, her voice dripping with self-righteousness. "Besides, Carter is loaded. What's 20-something thousand to him? A drop in the bucket. He's a man. He's supposed to be generous. If he gets stingy over a little bit of money like that, then what's the point of dating?" I turned a page in my journal. It featured an article about a tech company going public. That company was one of mine. Of course, Chloe and Samantha had no idea. In their eyes, I was just a trust fund kid who inherited the family business and had nothing better to do all day. "You're right, Sam," Chloe said, convinced. "I'll go to the boutique this afternoon." Go. And hey, don't actually use your own money. Are you crazy?" Samantha started scheming. "Just use the black card Carter gave you. Let him know you're not treating him like a stranger." "Is that a good idea?" Chloe hesitated. "What's not good about it? Isn't his money meant for you to spend? You're strengthening your bond, making him feel needed. Don't you get it? Listen to me. I've been around the block. I wouldn't give you bad advice." I listened to the voice on the phone and found it almost funny. A woman who married a guy with a 9-to-5, who worried about bills every day, was now coaching a pampered canary how to manipulate a billionaire. It was the joke of the year. "Okay, I'll listen to you, Sam." Chloe hung up. She turned to me, her eyes shining. "Carter, I want to go shopping this afternoon. Will you come with me?" "I have something at the office. I can't make it," I said without looking up. "Oh," she sounded disappointed. "Well, I'll ask my sister to go with me then." "Okay." She got up to go change. I closed the journal and tossed it on the coffee table. My phone buzzed. It was a text from my assistant. "Mr. Vance, shall I monitor the spending on Ms. Scott's supplementary black card today?" I replied with 2 words. "Not necessary. The car I gave her had no credit limit. Never mind 20,000. She could spend 2 million or 20 million. If she dared to swipe it, the charge would go through." I was curious to see just how big her appetite really was. Or rather, how big her sister Samantha's ambition was. I met Samantha a few times. Every time she looked at me, it was like she was staring at a walking mountain of gold. Her brainwashing of her own sister was masterful. She was the one who told Chloe that if a man loves you, he should spend money on you. She was the one who told Chloe that a man's boundaries are meant to be tested again and again. She was the one who told Chloe that a man like me was a sucker for the innocent, kind, and deeply loyal routine. And so, in front of me, Chloe always played the part of a slightly naive, innocent, silly girl who would do anything for her friends. She thought I was buying it. In reality, I was just watching the show, watching the 2 sisters push themselves, step by step, into the abyss. That afternoon, the text alert arrived. "A charge of $23, 800. 00 has been made to your credit card, ending in XXXX. The location was the Patek Philippe boutique." Excellent. The fish has taken a bait. Now it was time to let out more line. That evening, Chloe came home loaded with shopping bags. The excitement on her face was impossible to hide. She handed a small, elegant box to me. "Carter, this is for you." I raised an eyebrow. I opened it. It was an Hermes tie. The price was probably around $500. Using my $23,000 to get a $500 tie in return. What a bargain. "Do you like it?" I saw it while I was out and thought it would look perfect on you. She looked at me, her face full of expectation. "It's fine." I closed the box and casually set it aside. Her expression faltered. My reaction was probably too subdued for her liking. "Carter, what's wrong? Are you unhappy?" "No." I stood up. "I'm going upstairs to take a shower." I walked past her. I could smell the mix of her perfume and the scent of satisfaction and guilt clinging to her. She stood behind me for a long time. I didn't look back. I knew what she was thinking. She was wondering why I wasn't overjoyed by her small gift like I used to be. She was wondering if I was actually mad. Silly girl. I wasn't mad. I just felt it was time for the next act of this play to begin. 3. The $99,000 Porsche the following week was quiet. Chloe gave the watch to Dylan. He posted a picture on his Instagram story that same day. A brand new Patek Philippe on his wrist, captioned, "Some friendships are more valuable than money. Thanks to my angel." A bunch of our mutual friends liked and commented. Damn, Dylan nice. A Patek. From Chloe, right? Friendship goals. I'm jealous. So, when's the wedding? Chloe replied with a blushing emoji. Then she showed the post to me. Carter, look, they're all getting the wrong idea. It's so annoying. She said it was annoying, but she couldn't hide the smile tugging at her lips. I looked at the picture. Dylan's hand was resting on a woman's hand. I'd know that hand, even if it were burned to ash. It was Chloe's. The photo was framed cleverly, only showing the part below their wrists. It looked like an intimate moment between a couple, holding hands. Yeah, real annoying, I said, handing the phone back to her. My voice was calm. So calm that Chloe didn't notice anything unusual. She still thought I actually believed her nonsense about a platonic friendship. She didn't know that Dylan's Instagram profile was fully visible to me. For her, he had a close friends list. In another post, visible only to a few of our mutual hanger-ons, Dylan's caption was just one word, scored, followed by 3 victory emojis. The photo was the same. When my friend sent me the screenshot, he only said one thing. Carter, you're really going to let this slide? I texted back, be patient. I was waiting for something bigger, something more interesting to happen. It came soon enough. Dylan's birthday arrived. Chloe said she wanted to throw him a massive birthday party. The venue was set for the hottest club in the city, the biggest VIP table reserved. Carter, you have to come, she said. You're my boyfriend. Your attendance is mandatory. I agreed. On the day of the party, the place was already electric when I arrived. Dylan was the center of attention at the table, surrounded by a crowd. Chloe was right beside him, her smile radiant. They looked more like the couple. I walked over. All eyes fell on me. Well, look who it is. The man himself, Mr. Vance. Hope you're ready to spend some cash tonight. The comments came from a few of Dylan's cronies, their voices dripping with poorly concealed jealousy and provocation. I ignored them and sat down next to Chloe. Carter, you're here. Chloe seemed thrilled. She leaned in and whispered in my ear, Dylan's the birthday boy tonight, so don't give him a hard time, okay? I nodded. I picked up a glass from the table and took a sip of liquor. It was strong, burning my throat. The climax of the party was the gift-giving. Everyone else gave predictable presents, designer clothes, cologne, video games. Then it was Chloe's turn. She stood up and pulled a car key from her purse. The Porsche emblem was unmistakable, glinting under the club's flashing lights. The entire table erupted. Holy shit, a 718. Chloe, you're a legend. That's almost $100,000. Dylan was stunned. He stared at Chloe, his eyes shining. Chloe, this is too much. What are friends for? Don't be a stranger, Chloe said with a sweet smile. She pressed the key into Dylan's hand. Happy birthday, my dear friend. Dylan threw his arms around her in a tight hug. Chloe, you're too good to me. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. The people around them started chanting. Get together. Get together. Kiss. Kiss. Chloe's face turned red. She didn't push Dylan away, just gave his chest a token tap. It was a soft, gentle gesture, more flirtatious than anything. I sat in the shadows of the booth, quietly watching the scene unfold. It was like watching a well-rehearsed play. My phone vibrated. It was a transaction alert from my bank. A charge of $99,000 has been made to your credit card ending in XXXX. The location, a Porsche dealership. $99,000. For a car. For her dear friend. Charged my card. I picked up my glass and downed the remaining liquor in one gulp. Then I stood up. The moment I was on my feet, the chanting died down. Everyone looked at me. They were waiting for me to explode, to flip the table. They were waiting for the year's biggest drama. A trust fund kid losing his mind over a girl. Chloe watched me nervously. She let go of Dylan and walked toward me. Carter, let me explain. I didn't look at her. My eyes were on Dylan, the man of the hour, beaming with triumph. I smiled. Like the car. Dylan was taken aback. He probably didn't expect this reaction. He nodded instinctively. Yeah, good. With that, I turned and walked away. No anger, no shouting, not even a single question. I just left, leaving a room full of stunned people behind me. Chloe ran after me, grabbing my arm at the club's entrance. Carter, what is your problem? For the first time, she used my full name. No problem at all. I shook her hand off. Are you mad? There's nothing going on with Dylan and me. I saw that he wanted a new car, and I wanted to help him out. I know I didn't talk to you about it, and that was my fault. But you can't just embarrass me like that and walk out. Her voice was thick with unshed tears. A convincing performance. I looked at her at the face I once found incredibly beautiful. Now it just disgusted me. Chloe, I said her name. The game is over. She stared at me, dumbfounded. What? What game? The game where I play your devoted boyfriend. I pulled a card from my pocket and tossed it at her feet. This one's for you too. The pin is your birthday. There's still some money in there. Enough for you to buy a few more cars for your other dear friends. After that, I didn't give her another look. I opened my car door, got in, and floored it, leaving her in a cloud of exhaust. In the rearview mirror, Chloe was still standing there, like a popped balloon, completely deflated. I knew she was panicking, but she and her sister would never believe I would actually leave her. They'd think this was just a tantrum, that I was letting off steam. They'd wait for me to cool down, then come crawling back, tail between my legs, just like before. Too bad. This time, they were dead wrong. Game over. Now it was time for the reckoning. 4. The reckoning begins. I didn't go home. The mansion in Greenwich was bought for Chloe. Every decoration, every piece of furniture was handpicked by her. She said it needed to feel like a home. Now, that home felt tainted. I wanted my penthouse in Midtown Manhattan. This was where I actually lived. Chloe had been here once and complained it was too cold, too impersonal. She was right. I was the only one here. It was clean, quiet. I took a shower and changed. Standing before the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, I watched the streams of traffic below. My phone rang. It was Chloe. I didn't answer. She called again. I turned it off. The world fell silent. I poured myself a glass of red wine and sat on the sofa. I opened my laptop and started going through my emails. Revenge is never about shouting matches or hysterical fits. It is an art. It requires calmness, patience, and, most importantly, absolute power. My goal wasn't to destroy Chloe. That would be too easy, too boring. My goal was to take back everything I had ever given her. Then, I would let her watch as everything she coveted and depended on turned to dust. I would make her understand that without me, she was nothing. Step 1. The house. The next morning, I called my lawyer. Liquidate the property in Greenwich. Yes, Mr. Vance. Should we give Ms. Scott time to move out? 24 hours. Understood. I'll see to it immediately. Step 2. The cars. Chloe had 3 cars registered to her. A red Ferrari, a gift for her 18th birthday. A white Bentley for her daily drives. And a pink Mini Cooper she bought on a whim. All 3 were titled in my name. I had my assistant contact a dealership specializing in used luxury cars. By that afternoon, all 3 cars had been towed away. Step 3. Her countless luxury goods. The bags, the shoes, the clothes, the jewelry. Every single item was bought by me. Every single one had a receipt. I wasn't going to touch those. Not yet. I wanted her to be wearing the clothes I bought her, carrying the bag I bought her. As she was kicked out of the house, I bought her. The image would be priceless. As expected, Chloe's call came through to my assistant's phone that afternoon. I put on speaker. Where is Carter? Put him on the phone. Her voice was shrill, laced with panic. I'm sorry, Ms. Scott, Mr. Vance is in a meeting, my assistant replied in a formal tone. What meeting? He's avoiding me. What is the meaning of this? Why were my cars towed? Why are you kicking me out? This was Mr. Vance's decision. His decision? What right does he have to decide? The house is in my name. Ms. Scott, on the purchase agreement, your name is followed by an additional clause. You may not have read it carefully. What additional clause? The clause states that the beneficial ownership of this property belongs to Mr. Vance. You only have residential rights. When your romantic relationship with Mr. Vance ends, those rights are automatically terminated. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. I could picture her expression perfectly. Shock, disbelief, and a hint of despair. No, that's impossible, she shrieked. It was a gift. He told me he'd love me forever. My assistant said nothing. There was no point arguing with a lunatic. Put him on the phone. I need to speak with him face to face. Mr. Vance said he has nothing more to say to you. You tell him, if he doesn't see me, I will leak everything about our relationship to the press. I'll let everyone see what a hypocrite Carter Vance really is. I let out a soft chuckle. Threatening me? She truly had no idea who she was dealing with. Ms. Scott, my assistant's tone turned cold. Allow me to offer a friendly reminder. Legally, all of Mr. Vance's gifts to you are classified as conditional gifts. The condition being that you are his girlfriend. Now that this condition is no longer met, Mr. Vance has the legal right to reclaim all property gifted to you, including every cent you have spent on his cards. If you insist on making this a public spectacle, we have no objection to pursuing legal action. In that event, the amount you would be required to repay might be a staggering, some beyond your imagination. Oh, and by the way, the $99,000 for the Porsche you gifted to Mr. Hayes is also included in the amount we will be seeking to recover. The call was abruptly ended by Chloe. I could feel her last line of defense crumbling. She thought my love was her shield. Only now did she realize that the shield could be taken away at any moment. And I was the one taking it. Who would she turn to now? Undoubtedly, her most trusted sister, Samantha. That self-proclaimed mastermind. The show was just getting started. 5. The mastermind takes the stage. My phone was silent for the entire night. I figured the Scott sisters were up all night, plotting how to deal with me, the heartless bastard. The next morning, I got a call from Samantha. Her voice was just as I expected, filled with a feigned rationality and gentleness. Carter, it's Sam. Can we meet? Fine. How about 3 o'clock this afternoon? At that coffee shop you like downtown. Okay. I hung up. My assistant came in. Mr. Vance, it's all taken care of. A moving company has packed all of Ms. Scott's belongings and placed them in a temporary storage unit. The locks on the mansion have also been changed. Where is she? Most likely at her sister's place. Understood. At 3 o'clock, I arrived at the coffee shop on time. Samantha was already there. She was dressed more formally than usual, her makeup meticulously applied, but it couldn't hide the exhaustion and anxiety in her eyes. When she saw me, she immediately stood up, forcing a smile. Carter, you're here? Please sit. I sat across from her. What can I get you? Nothing for me. Samantha's smile froze. She wrung her hands, seemingly trying to find the right words. Carter, I know Chloe was in the wrong this time. She started off with a posture of humility. She shouldn't have bought Dylan such an expensive gift without talking to you. She's just immature, impulsive. Don't hold it against her. She knows she was wrong. She cried all night. Her eyes are completely swollen. I listened quietly, saying nothing. Samantha continued, taking back the cars, making her move out. That's taught her a lesson. Isn't that enough? You two have been together for so long. You have such a strong connection. Don't let a little thing like this ruin everything. Just take her back. I promise. Nothing like this will ever happen again. She spoke with such sincerity, as if she were a loving sister who would do anything for her siblings' happiness. If I didn't know her better, I might have actually been moved. Unfortunately for her, I did. Are you done? I asked. Samantha was taken aback. I am. Then it's my turn. I leaned forward slightly, looking her straight in the eye. First, she and I have broken up. There is no taking her back. Second, this wasn't a little thing. It was a matter of principle. Third, and most importantly, I paused. What makes you think you're in any position to bargain with me? The color drained from Samantha's face. She probably never expected me to be so direct, so merciless. I was just. You just thought that I still love her, that I can't live without her. That if her big sister stepped in to mediate, gave me an easy way out, I'd take it. Is that right? You just thought that Carter Vance was some kind of fool that you and your sister could wrap around your little fingers. Is that right? My voice wasn't loud, but every word was a hammer blow, striking hard against Samantha's heart. Her lips began to tremble. No, that's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? I pressed. I'm asking you. Was it your idea for her to use my card to buy Dylan that watch? Samantha's eyes darted away. I'm asking you, was it also your idea to encourage her to keep using my card to buy that $99,000 Porsche? She couldn't look at me. And I'm asking you, over these past few years, under the guise of looking out for your sister, how many benefits have you taken from Chloe, from me? Your husband's job. My assistant arranged that, didn't he? $150,000 a year to drink coffee and read the news. Your son's private academy, with its $50,000 annual tuition. I paid for that, didn't I? The down payment on the house you live in now, $300,000. I lent you that as well, correct? With every question, Samantha's face grew paler. By the end, she was as white as a sheet. Samantha, you enjoy the benefits I provide while using your own sister as a pawn, teaching her how to scheme against me. Did you really think you could have it all? She was utterly speechless, her body trembling slightly. I agreed to meet you today, not to hear you beg for mercy. I leaned back in my chair, adjusting my cufflinks. It was to inform you, starting tomorrow, your husband no longer needs to go to work. HR will process his termination. Your son's tuition for the next semester will no longer be my concern. And that $300,000. I want it back, with interest within 1 week. Otherwise, I'll see you in court. Samantha's eyes widened in terror and despair. No, Carter, you can't do this. She finally snapped, her voice turning shrill. You're trying to destroy us. We've done nothing to you. Why are you doing this to me? Done nothing? I laughed. You should have thought of this day when you decided to play me for a fool. Well, you've been notified. I stood up, looking down at her. And by the way, give your sister a message for me. Her reckoning has officially begun. 6. Cutting off the source, I don't know how I left the coffee shop. All I know is that from that day on, my world became completely silent. No harassing calls, no one showing up at my door to beg. The Scott sisters seemed to have vanished from my life. I knew they hadn't given up. They were just trying to come up with a new strategy. Or perhaps my series of combination punches had simply stunned them, and they needed time to process and react. But none of that mattered to me. My plan was proceeding methodically. Samantha's husband was fired the very next day. The official reason was inadequate job performance. He tried to fight it to file a complaint with the Department of Labor. It was useless. His entire work record was pulled, consistently late, leaving early, rock-bottom performance reviews, and he had even used his position to accept kickbacks from suppliers. The evidence was more than enough to ruin his reputation. In the end, he had no choice but to pack his things and leave in disgrace. The private academy her son attended also sent a notice for overdue tuition. $50,000. For them now, it was an astronomical sum. If they couldn't pay, he would have to withdraw and transfer to a regular public school. Going from luxury to austerity is a hard fall. I could only imagine the tantrums that spoiled little brat would throw. As for the $300,000 debt, my lawyer's demand letter had already been sent to their home. They had 7 days. If the money wasn't returned by the deadline, we would file a lawsuit immediately, seize their property, freeze their accounts. I wanted them to fall from the clouds and into the mud. I wanted them to understand that everything they had acquired without effort would eventually come at a price. With Samantha dealt with, it was Chloe's turn. For her, I needed to be more patient. She was a girl I had once genuinely cared for. Although that affection had been thoroughly trampled and destroyed by her own actions, I still wanted to leave her with a shred of dignity. I had my assistant investigate all of Chloe's bank accounts. Besides the limitless black card and the supplementary card with a $50,000 limit that I had given her, she had one personal savings account. The balance, I guessed, was no more than 5 figures. She was used to spending my money and had never developed a habit of saving. I had the black card and the supplementary card frozen. Then, I waited quietly. Waited for her to spend the last of the money in her savings account. Waited for her to sell off the designer bags and jewelry I had given her. Waited for her to truly experience the feeling of being broke. This process would probably take 1 to 2 months. It would be enough time to transform her from a glamorous goddess into an ordinary person struggling to make ends meet. During this time, I wasn't idle. I was dealing with another matter. Regarding Dylan, the dear friend Chloe was so infatuated with. The man who drove around showing off the Porsche I bought. I looked into his background. The son of a small business owner. The family had some money, but compared to me, it was the difference between an ant and an elephant. He had been pursuing Chloe since college. He knew she was with me, but he didn't care. He enjoyed the thrill of stealing a woman from a top-tier heir like me. He thought I was oblivious to his little games. He thought his actions were seamless. Unfortunately for him, in this world, there are no secrets, especially not for me. Dylan's family company was in the construction materials business. Their biggest client was a real estate company called Horizon Group. 70% of their annual orders came from Horizon. What a coincidence. Horizon Group is majority owned by my family. I made a call to Horizon CEO. Mr. Wallace, it's Carter Vance. Well, Carter, what brings you to call? Just a small matter I was hoping you could help me with. Name it. Anything for you. Does your company have a supplier called Hayes Construction Materials? Yes, we've been working with them for several years. Starting next quarter, I want you to terminate all contracts with them. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end. Carter, did something happen? Did this company offend you? You could say that. All right, I know what to do. Mr. Wallace didn't ask any more questions. Thanks, Wallace. I owe you dinner. Don't mention it. I hung up and looked out the window. The sky was gradually darkening. I could foresee that the sky over the Hayes family was about to turn black as well. Losing Horizon Group as their main client would immediately break Hayes Construction's capital chain. Within 3 months, they would have to declare bankruptcy. By then, Dylan would no longer be the suave, successful heir. He would be a debt-ridden outcast. That $99,000 Porsche would be repossessed and auctioned off by the court. I wanted him to have it all, and then lose it all. I wanted him to understand that if something doesn't belong to you, even if you hold it in your hands for a moment, it will eventually burn you. What belongs to me, Carter Vance, is not for anyone to touch. If you touch it, you should be prepared to have your hands cut off. 7. The final straw. A month later, I received a report from my assistant. Chloe had started selling her bags online. The first one she listed was a Hermes Himalaya Birkin. I had won it at an auction for over $300,000. She listed it for $180,000. Urgent sale. There were many comments below. Some were from genuine buyers. Others were from trolls enjoying the drama. Isn't this the great beauty Chloe? How has she fallen to selling her bags? Did Carter dump you? You deserve it. $180,000? Are you robbing people? This bag is obviously a fake. Chloe didn't reply to any of them. I knew she must be feeling incredibly humiliated. Before, she was a goddess worshipped by all. Now, she was a joke in the eyes of others. The fall from grace was enough to destroy anyone's self-esteem. But that wasn't enough. I had my assistant contact a few well-known socialites in our circle. These women used to be Chloe's best friends, always fawning over her. Now, I had my assistant leak an inside tip to them. The bags Chloe was selling were stolen goods that I was preparing to reclaim through legal action. Anyone who bought them would be held jointly liable. Once the news broke, Chloe's online marketplace account went silent. No one made any more offers. Some even retracted their previous bids. Her last lifeline was cut off. By me. Another half a month passed. I ran into Chloe. It was at the coffee shop in my office building. She had lost a lot of weight. Her complexion was sallow, and she was wearing a faded t-shirt. The LV canvas bag she once despised as out of fashion was now her only luxury item. She sat in a corner, a cup of the cheapest Americano in front of her, her eyes staring blankly out the window. I walked over and sat down opposite her. When she saw me, she flinched like a startled rabbit. Then, a glimmer of hope ignited in her eyes. Carter. Her voice was hoarse, on the verge of tears. You're finally seeing me. I didn't say anything, just looked at her. She had changed. She was no longer the proud, confident, radiant Chloe. Her eyes were filled with nothing but humility and desperation. Carter, I was wrong. I was so wrong, she sobbed, tears streaming down her cheeks. I shouldn't have been so close to Dylan. I shouldn't have used your money to buy him things. Please forgive me. Can't we start over? I promise. I will never be so foolish again. She reached out, trying to take my hand. I pulled away. Chloe, I said, my voice cold. It's too late. Her body went rigid. The hope in her eyes died out, ember by ember. Why? She whispered. But we were so in love. In love. I laughed. Were you in love with me, or my money? If you truly loved me, you wouldn't have tested my limits again and again. If you truly loved me, you wouldn't have taken my tolerance as a license for your indulgence. She was speechless, able to do nothing but shake her head. No, that's not it. You know the truth in your own heart. I stood up, ready to leave. Oh, by the way, let me tell you something. I looked at her pale face. Dylan's family company went bankrupt. She shot her head up, her eyes wide with shock. What? He's drowning in debt now. That Porsche has already been repossessed by the bank. He can't even save himself. He won't be able to be your dear friend anymore. Every word I said was like the final straw on a camel's back. The color drained completely from Chloe's face. She understood. None of it was a coincidence. Dylan's family's bankruptcy was my doing. Her inability to sell her bags was also because of me. Everything she was going through was part of a meticulously planned revenge. Why? She stared at me, her eyes filled with fear. Carter, you're so cruel. Cruel? I leaned down, close to her ear, and whispered in a voice only we could hear, we're just getting started. What you and your sister owe me, I will take back bit by bit. Enjoy the show. With that, I straightened up, turned, and walked away, leaving her with my resolute back and her complete despair. 8. The sisters' collapse. What finally broke Samantha was her son, the precious boy she viewed as the hope of her family, the one who had attended top-tier private schools his whole life. Because she couldn't afford the tuition, he was forced to withdraw. Samantha had to enroll him in a regular public middle school near their house. It was a fall from heaven to hell. The little prince couldn't accept it. He started skipping school, getting into fights, and hanging out with a bad crowd. His teachers were calling Samantha every other day. She was at her wit's end. After her husband was fired, he couldn't find another decent job. He ended up driving for Uber, working from dawn till dusk for meager earnings. The mortgage, the car payments, and my $300,000 debt were like 3 mountains crushing her. She finally had a breakdown. She called me. The moment I answered, I was met with hysterical sobbing and screaming. Carter, what in the world do you want? Just leave us alone. I'm begging you. I can't pay back the $300,000. I don't have any money. You can push me to my death, and I still won't have the money. I listened quietly, waiting for her to exhaust her anger and tears. Only then did I speak, slowly. You can't pay it back. Fine, I'll show you a way out. She fell silent. What? What way out? Go ask your sister for it. Chloe? She doesn't have any money either. She does, I said. She has plenty of bags, plenty of jewelry. Selling just a few pieces would be more than enough to pay me back. Another silence on her end. I knew I had struck a chord. Samantha was an extremely selfish person. In her mind, her own interests always came first. Even her own sister could be sacrificed at a critical moment. But she can't sell any of it. Samantha's voice grew faint. That's because she's incompetent, I said dismissively. As long as she's willing to part with them, I have ways to turn them into cash. Of course, the price will have to be discounted a bit. Consider it the tuition you two sisters have to pay for your own foolishness. I hung up. I knew what Samantha would do. She would go to Chloe. She would use family ties, use morality to guilt-trip her. She would force her to hand over the luxury goods she treasured so much. A dog-eat-dog drama was about to unfold. I was looking forward to it. Sure enough, a few days later, my assistant informed me that Chloe and Samantha had a massive fight in the apartment they were renting. It was so loud the neighbors called the police. Apparently, Samantha tried to forcibly take Chloe's bags to sell them. Chloe refused. The two of them got into a physical altercation. The once loving sisters were now at each other's throats over money. How ironic. In the end, Samantha got the upper hand. She snatched 2 Hermes bags, a Chanel, and a few pieces of Cartier jewelry. Then, through a middleman, she contacted my assistant, expressing her willingness to sell these items at a discounted price to settle the debt. I agreed. The total value of those items was over $500,000. I had them appraised at $280,000, less than 60% of their worth. Samantha agreed on the spot without the slightest hesitation. She said she would figure out a way to pay back the remaining $20,000 as soon as possible. I had her sign a promissory note. Then, I had the legal notice for the $300,000 debt withdrawn. For now, I let her off the hook. I knew that with the $280,000, she wouldn't just pay me the $20,000 she still owed. She would first solve her son's tuition problem. She would improve her own dire living situation. As for the $20,000 IOU, she would drag her feet, thinking I was genuinely that kind. She was wrong. I just want to let her see a glimmer of hope in her despair, before personally snuffing it out. That way it's much more interesting, isn't it? 9. Dylan's downfall. Dylan came looking for me. The day after his family's company declared bankruptcy. He cornered me in my building's underground parking garage. He looked haggard, with a scruffy beard and bloodshot eyes. The confident, triumphant air from the birthday party was completely gone. Carter. He lunged at me, trying to grab my collar, but my bodyguard intercepted him. It was you, wasn't it? He roared at me. You're the one who destroyed my family's company. I adjusted my suit. I don't know what you're talking about. Stop pretending. He was frantic. Horizon Group suddenly terminated all our contracts. Overnight, every bank came calling in their loans. If it wasn't you,